Ashley Brockmann, and I am here to talk to you today about my company, Academic Eye. So Academic Eye started because the way that schools are communicating student achievement with parents and families is confusing, it's not clear, it doesn't give guidance for parents to help their child, and most times they say, that did absolutely nothing for me and I don't know really what my kid is doing, and I definitely don't know how to support them. This is what a typical report card will look like. This one is more the traditional grading system where you'll get an A, B, C, or D. This one is elementary level and it's the standards-based type of grading where you'll get making progress, consistently mastered, those kinds of things. This one is that more traditional way as well. As you can see, it's kind of confusing. Oftentimes it's an educational jargon that if you're not an educator, you're not sure what those words even mean. So Academic Eye offers a much better solution. So the solution that Academic Eye offers is a new platform that helps families, students, teachers, and administrators. This is kind of what it looks like. It's a mobile application and a website. This is called a grading scale. So students' grades will be displayed on a grading scale. They'll have one for every subject. So this is literacy. As you can see, these are the testing points that schools will determine when that is. The star shows where the student should be performing if they are mastering the standards that the district has deemed they should master by that time. And then the dot is where the student is actually performing. The three colors that you'll see on a grading scale correlate to both traditional grading scales and the standards-based grading. Basically, if you're green, you've got it. You can do this skill that I'm asking you to do. Maybe if it's a percentage, it's an 80% to 100%. The whole point is you can do it. If it's yellow, it's an area to grow. Also, maybe call it a learning zone because that's where families should be helping their students with things that they can do if they have a little bit of support and they need to get to that next level. And then, of course, if they're red, that's the 60% or below, or we're just not there yet. We don't have this yet. And that's okay because we're getting to that point. This whole program kind of builds on that growth mindset of I'm going, this is where I'm headed. I'm here and it's 3 steps back, but that's okay because I'm mastering the steps to get to where my goal is. So this is the family view. I have 2 slides for the views because they're very different from the school to the home. So this is the home view. So on this first screen you can see all the grading scales laid out. I've even included attendance and social emotional behavior. A lot of times we link in like, well, they didn't turn it in, so they got a 0 and they're failing math. Even though maybe they're completely proficient at the math standards, they're failing math. Those aren't math grades, those are executive functioning grades, turning in paperwork and organizing your materials. So that grade will show up in that box. Parents can click on any box to get more information. So, for example, they click on literacy, it brings up the concepts. This is how teachers enter grades. Also has their goals. And then if they click on a concept, which I encourage them to click on yellow ones, that's that learning zone. It takes them to the strands page. They can click another yellow strand, and it tells them a little bit about what that is, because if you're not an educator, you may not know the term phonics. You may not know the term decoding. So we explain that in common language so that if it's a grandparent raising their grandchild, they can simply have resources to help. It then gives them the skill that they're working on, and it links videos, activities, and games that support that standard. So each standard has these 3 things linked to it to offer home support for that specific targeted skill. This is the school view. So teachers will enter grades directly into the vertically aligned standard progression. This is what it's all rooted in right here. I took all of the Missouri Learning Standards, which is what we are required to teach in Missouri. Every state has its state standards the teachers are required to teach. Public, private, doesn't matter. And I've aligned them, actually pre-K to grade 12. This is just the elementary chunk of it, but it goes the whole span. I want it to truly be a portfolio that follows the child and tracks their mastery. It's really a learning pathway and gives clear directions on where we're going next. So if this is a third grade student, you can see they're about half a grade level behind. And this is how that is determined. The teacher will look at that grading scale and they will either just color code the standard itself. Can the child do this? So for example, explain the author's purpose. Can the child explain the author's purpose? Well, they can do it if I help them a little bit at a third grade level, so that's a yellow. And then the one before it, that's a green skill, so we're solid there. We're ready to work at grade level. You might notice this one is red, so this third grade student is still yellow at the second grade skill. They should be at third grade, but they're not, and that's why the third grade skill is red. This is yellow because they can do that with support, and those they've already mastered. It also provides super easy goal setting because we just back it up a step. For example, if my goal is to be able to explain the author's purpose of a text, I can simply pick my action steps by what comes before that on the progression. It's so simply aligned, and I think for teachers, this is huge. Just to have all of that organized in a clear way, and all of their data goes into it, instead of in all different places. The other thing is it aligns with NTSS, which is the system that schools use to provide extra services for students who need it. Anything beyond what everyone in the class is getting. That makes our groups for us automatically. It helps building-wide. It can be by class, by subject, anything. So the go-to-market timeline for Academic Eye this summer, big couple months for me. I've been beta testing. Luckily, I'm a teacher, so I know a lot of teachers. So I have some summer school teachers helping me out right now. I've given them a beta test, and they're filling it out on their summer school students and sharing that with families to give true feedback and validation for the product. I also have been doing it with my own children. I have one neurodiverse child and one neurotypical child, and it's been incredibly beneficial for me to fill this out on them. It's amazing. I've done it firsthand, and I can tell you it's amazing. So I'm really working on securing that validation. The other part I'm really working on is securing funding. As soon as I have funding, we're ready to start building the MVP. My goal is to get the MVP built this summer. It should take about 4 weeks or a little bit more. Pilot in the fall and throughout this next school year, while I am adding all of those activities and those games, and I'm going to be videotaping teachers, teaching lessons. When I build this for other states, I will go to those other states to do new videos because I think it's important that the dialect matches. That's the whole thing, is curriculums kind of are taking over, but they're not written for Missouri students. They're written for students in California or Texas. This is written for Missouri. It's around our Missouri learning standards that we teach, and I think curriculums are kind of overshadowing that. Teachers are getting lost in the curriculums, and they're not really teaching the standards as much because they're not as accessible. So this helps that problem. The next school year, I would continue securing contracts through Missouri and start working on developing Illinois. And then 2027 is where we see our first year of profit. And it's already at like $1 million the first year. It goes really fast.
Nice.
Yeah. So this is what I'm offering right now. I'm saying that the pilot will be $7 per student. And then when we launch the full product, it'll be $10 per student. And a little bit about me. I've been in education for 17 years. I've been kindergarten, first, second grade teacher, educational consultant for pre-K through 5, reading specialist in Parkway currently. Not going back next year though because I want to pursue this full time. And I've decided that if I don't get funding, I'm just going to use a freelance person to help me code and give the pilot for free. And once people see it, they're going to see it and the funding's going to come. So I kind of have two paths, one for if I get investors, one for if I don't. They both even out by 2027, so whichever way I have to get there, I'm happy with, as long as we can get it out there, because I really truly do believe that this is so very needed. All of the people that I've talked to reflect that same thought, and I really, really just want to get it out there to use.